All right, I now call to order the 25th meeting of the 61st session on March 27th, 2019 at 7:18 p.m. Moving into section 2, roll call. When I say your name, please say present or here. Senator Akhter.
Present.
Senator Ale. Senator Balderrama.
Here.
Senator Balzer.
Here.
Senator Berth.
Present.
Senator Bogle.
Present.
Senator Brumley.
Here.
Senator Enns.
Present.
Senator Fugit.
Here.
Senator Gibson.
Here.
Senator Huser.
Here.
Senator James.
Here.
Senator Khan.
Here.
Senator Kimball. Senator King.
Here.
Senator Laughlin.
Here.
Senator Martin.
Here.
Senator Maddock. Senator Morgan.
Here.
Senator Mounts.
Present.
Senator Newfield.
Here.
Senator Rivera.
Present.
Senator Wang. Senator Wappelhorst.
Here.
Senator Webb.
Here.
Senator Wright.
Present.
And Senator Zacharias.
Here.
All right, quorum has been met with 23 in attendance. Simple majority is 12, two-thirds majority is 16, and two-thirds of the entire Senate is 19. Moving into section 3, approval of the minutes. First of all, I'd just like to apologize because of logistical reasons. We didn't have the minutes out in the email, but as we normally do, and we'll make sure to have it out in the future. That being said, are there any corrections to the minutes of last week's meeting? All right, seeing none, the minutes are approved as is, and we move into section 4, public forum. Is there anyone wishing to speak in public forum tonight? Just state your name and your relation to the university. Okay, go ahead and come up here, and you'll have 3 minutes, okay?
Hi, my name is Abhishek, and I'm a president for Ahimsa, Association of Hindu Students in America. And on April 13th, Saturday, we are going to have an event, and I would like to invite each and every one of you. And it's a festival of colors, and it starts at 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. So see you guys there. Thank you.
Would you like to take any questions?
Yeah, sure. Any
Are
questions?
there any questions for the speaker? Yep. Senator Brumley?
Do we pay at the event, or is there like pre-sales? Or
You can buy the tickets right now, or you can just show up at the event on the gate.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? All right, seeing none, thank you for coming to speak with us.
Thank you.
And we will now move into section 5, is there anyone else wishing to speak in public forum tonight? All right, seeing none, we'll now move into section 5.
With a motion. That wasn't good. I'd like to motion that we move the student fees budget to now, just so we can have a section dedicated just to that. So move on the agenda, we move FB-61-046 and have a separate section after public forum, so like right now.
Okay. It has been motioned that student fees be moved to now as before officer reports. Do we have a second for this motion?
Seconded.
All right. I don't know. Would there be debate on this? I don't have my cheat sheet. I knew I forgot something. Do you know, like, if this would have debate on it, something like this?
I think so, because you're using the second.
Mm-hmm.
It's simple majority.
Yeah, we're
By
trying to
hand.
figure out if there's debate. Does anybody?
No.
Okay, so there's no debate, so we'll be moving into the voting period on this. All those in favor, please raise your hand. All those opposed, same sign. All right, the motion carries, and so we will now move into Section 5, Unfinished Business Part 1. Item A, FB-61-046, Student Fees Fiscal Year 20 Recommended Budget. Does the author wish to speak to this bill? All right, we did have the first read last week, so is there anyone wishing to speak in debate on this bill? Senator Brumley.
I will be voting in favor tonight. I think it was very refreshing this year. I think having more representation on the budget led to a budget that wasn't as highly contested as years past. I can speak to myself. I know my representative reached out to me, which I was very thankful about. I know that my needs were met. I know that the business students as a constituency, those needs were met, and I believe wholeheartedly that this budget reflects more student opportunities, more than maybe administrative things that don't directly affect us. So I thought there was a lot of learning opportunities that get funded through this, and programs, and I think that's what we should be advocating for. So I will be voting in favor, and I encourage others to do so as well.
Senator Maddock.
I'll also be voting in favor of this for a number of reasons. Firstly, I think that the students who worked on this did it in a very professional and caring way, and I think that sometimes budgeting and finances can get very black and white, and they forget that they're voting on people's well-being, and so I think that was done very well. And then also the cost of living raise was a very smart move, and I hope that Kansas sees this and takes a hint that their students and the people who live in their state want to be able to accommodate for that living raise. And so I think that I will definitely be voting in favor of this.
Senator Rivera.
So I will also be voting in favor of this budget. When I was on the revision committee last semester, we set out with a couple goals, and a few of them were increasing student representation on the committee itself, allowing the committee to do its job without having the Senate be a overarching force on that, and then also just put a focus back into what students are looking for on student fees. So when you look at where the cuts happen in this budget, you see that, and I think the Sunflower put it really well, the committee put a focus on student groups and student organizations, and I think that that's what student fees is supposed to do. But they also recognize that some of the fees in here include salaries for people, and that's how they make their living. So they took that into account, and they also made sure that they set a goal and didn't go above that goal. So the 2.5% increase is what they originally set out, and that's what they ended up getting because they set up from the beginning. So I think it's really nice to see the committee go back to, or I guess not go back to, but see the committee put a new focus on student organizations rather than maybe departments in the university, but also realizing that some of the fees specifically in departments go to salaries, and they didn't want to necessarily cut salaries so people couldn't make their living anymore. So I will also be voting yes, and I encourage you all to do the same.
Senator Fugit.
I will be voting yes in favor of this bill. I have, in years past, as a student, have spoken before this body, different sessions, on the needs for increasing and not cutting so much some of our student requests, our student group requests. And it is oddly refreshing to see a gallery that isn't overflowing, having been part of that overflowing in the past. So I think that's a testament to how well this worked, how well it is filling the needs of the students of Wichita State, and that this new process is doing what it needs to do, and that these fees are fair, accurate, and good for the students of Wichita State University.
Senator Wright.
So I will be voting in favor of this bill. I was on this committee, and it's certainly not the budget I would have put forward. I don't think it's the budget any individual member of the committee would have put forward. I think this is a real collective effort. There was lively debate on almost every line item, and I think this is the best budget for the student fees.
Senator Enns.
Yeah, so from a perspective of someone that was on the 58th session as well as last session and this session, there have been so many different student fees processes that I've seen and been involved in. And I am just extremely thankful that, this was systematically corrected and that we got a really great group of students that were dedicated to talking and having constructive dialogue, and came up with a really great budget, and that they were all supported by both the university and each other, and had a lot of people and a lot of feedback. So I'm very thankful for that, as well as just looking through this, studying it, seeing how well everything is allocated. I think it's very efficient, and I am very happy to be voting for this bill.
Senator Martin.
I will also be voting in favor, obviously, because I was on the committee. But in comparison to what I've heard about, like, artificial, like, fee raises from last year, I think this sets us up, like, in a good spot for next year, and we worked really hard on it, so.
Senator King.
Motion to end debate.
There's been a motion to previous question. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. All those in favor to end debate, please raise your hand. All those opposed, same sign. All right. Debate has been ended by a majority vote of the Senate, and we'll now be going into the voting period. All those in favor of the funding bill, please raise your hand.
Point of information, doesn't this require a roll call vote?
It doesn't. With a motion.
Is there any objections to a roll call vote? All right. Seeing none, we will be voting by roll call. When I say your name, please say. Shelby.
Yes.
Okay, but also, how do I do it on this one?
Do you want me to do it?
Sure. I can say the names.
Senator Octor,
Yes.
Senator Balderrama,
Yes.
Senator Balzer.
Approve.
Yes, no, abstain, please. Thank you.
Yes. I didn't know.
You're okay. Senator Berth,
Yes.
Senator Bogle,
Yes.
Senator Brumley,
Yes.
Senator Enns,
Yes.
Senator Fugit,
Yes.
Senator
Yay.
Gibson,
Yes.
Senator Huser,
Yes.
Senator James,
Yes.
Senator Kahn,
Yes.
Senator King,
Yes.
Senator Laughlin,
Yes.
Senator Martin,
Yes.
Senator Maddock,
Yes.
Senator Morgan,
Yes.
Senator Mounts,
Yes.
Senator Newfield,
Yes.
Senator Rivera,
Yes.
Senator Wapplehorse,
Yes.
Senator Webb,
Yes.
Senator Wright,
Yes.
Senator Zacharias.
Yes.
The funding bill has been passed with 23 votes in favor and 0 against.
All right, moving into Section 6, Officer Reports. Item A, the chair now recognizes President Rowell for the reading of their report.
Okay, I'll try to keep this brief and condensed, but if you want my full report, you can go on the minutes. I had a K-Board meeting last week. Currently, SAC is scheduling another trip to Topeka. We were asked to go back to Topeka to lobby for higher education funding after the session break. So it will be a joint event between the 61st session and 62nd session. Tentatively, that's going to be happening May 2nd. We're very excited. No other K-Board SAC group has been asked to go back to Topeka to lobby. Secondly, we have the professional clothing event next week. This is going to be April 4th and 5th. We're doing this in conjunction with Airbus. We're currently taking donations, so if you guys are cleaning out your closets with your professional clothing, please bring it by the SGA office, or you can take it to Career Development Center. And additionally, that will be at Career Development Center 9 to 4 p.m., if I'm thinking correctly. We're doing a Dillon's trip this Friday to get more food for the locker. We have a lot of product right now, but we're running low on a few key items. If you can help at 1 p.m. to stock the product this Friday, that would be great. Please just comment in the Discord if you'll be able to come. Also, with the Shocker Support Locker, we've been in talks to have the Shocker Support Locker Library. This is something that we've been working on for the entire year, but I just wanted to give you guys an update on that. We've accumulated enough books to start this for the next session, so what we didn't want to do was have like 4 books and be like, here's the library. So we wanted to make sure we had enough books to put that out. Hopefully we're going to put that in the Shocker Support Locker and allocate some space for that. But that should be done by the end of the year, and then we'll be able to give that to the 62nd session as a project that they can either choose to continue or not continue. I have gotten reports that members of faculty committees and courts have not been attending their meetings. So if you are a member of a faculty committee or court, I really, really encourage you guys to make sure that you're making a conscious effort to go to your meetings or your hearings. If you aren't able to attend, definitely reach out to your faculty members who are on that court so that they're aware. We want to make sure that we're having student involvement in these courts, especially for some of the courts and committees. It's very important that we have student input. So please be conscious of that. We're not done yet. We still have 3 or 4 more weeks. I want to make sure everyone's still engaged and involved in the committees that, you know, they were selected to serve on. So with that, I'll take any questions if there are any.
Are there any questions for the President's report? Senator Berth?
So you mentioned the professional clothing drive. Are there any particular items you're looking for, or just overall professional
Really
attire?
anything. Last year they had suits, dress pants, shirts, polos, belts, any dresses, skirts, sweaters, shoes, jewelry. We'll take anything.
Are there any other questions? Senator Brumley?
With the library, is that just textbooks, or is that like leisurely reading?
Most of them has been textbooks. We specifically wanted to target textbooks, so we've been working with the bookstore downstairs. They get a lot of books that students, for some reason, they either can't give them back for rental because they've been damaged, but they're still readable. So they were kind enough to donate all of the books that they were donated to. Typically, those just go to the recycle. But having worked at the bookstore, I was just like, can we please take them off your hands? And they were really great and worked with us. So I anticipate that will continue so long as other administrations want to continue with that project.
Senator Newfield?
So with the textbook thing, Can anybody just like bring textbooks
Yeah,
somewhere?
yeah,
Okay.
we've gotten some from a lot of different people.
Okay, and where is that?
So you
Sorry,
can just
follow-
bring it to my office. I have some underneath my desk, and we also have some in the Senate suite, so we'll find a place for them for storage for now.
Are there any other questions for the President's report? All right, seeing none, we'll move into item B, the Vice President's report. So a lot of what I've been doing over the past few weeks has been meeting with senators, working with different legislative projects or bills or whatever, and that's been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed that. I've been able to teach some senators how to write legislation that I hadn't even crossed my mind that they didn't know how. And if you're one of those senators who feels like they don't know how to write legislation and you want to know how, please reach out to me because I would love to help you out. This coming week, I'm going to be meeting with another senator to work on a bill that will hopefully come to the floor on Wednesday. And I've also began working on my transition guide for the next session. So I've also sent the resolutions out so I've sent most of the resolutions out from last week's meeting. I've sent out the general education resolution, and I've sent out the resolution in remembrance of President Bardot. The one that I'm still haven't sent out yet is the one for the mosque shooting, and that is because I am waiting on a list of contacts for email addresses and or physical addresses for the places that are not university contacts, just so that I can send it out to them as well. But other than that, something else that's going to be in the future is I need to start thinking about the compilation of the legislative journal at the end of the year and making sure that we have everything in order for that when it finally comes time to make that document. And with that, I'm open to any questions. Senator Mounts?
Have you received my email with the addresses? Because I sent that today during, it was around 6:30, I believe.
Gotcha. So I was probably at the engineering town hall, but I probably did. Thank you. Are there any other questions? All right, seeing none, we'll move into item C, the Treasurer's report. The chair now recognizes Treasurer Yang for the reading of their report.
Okay, so 4 things. First, I've been figuring out how much money we'll have for auxiliary, or in the auxiliary funding account at the very end of the year, and that's including different office expenses that might come out of it. Next week is the last week of auxiliary funding hearings, so I believe we have 2 that we're supposed to listen to. Hopefully there won't be too much more because it is nearing the end of the year, so I don't want to approve tons of funding when we're ending our term and stuff like that. And along with that, there's less way to monitor it if the next treasurer comes in and I leave or something like that. So in 2 weeks, we'll be voting on the last funding bill ever, hopefully. Third and almost finally, Budget and Finance has put in a lot of work over the past year. They've been through hours of meetings because whenever we do auxiliary funding, we also do Budget and Finance on top of that. So I think that almost every single week for the past few weeks, we've put in at least an hour and a half or nearly 2 hours of committee meeting. But just to let you all know, we'll continue to work after all the hearings are done. We started last week, but we've been working on it today, today as well. We'll be looking through Statute 27 just to review more org funding and individual funding guidelines. Currently, we're working on a system for summer funding for individuals and organizations to figure out if there's a better method of allocating summer funding. Finally, I won't be in office for much longer, as you all know. It's about that time of year. So if you all are curious about the work that the treasurer does or have any questions about my position or DPR, student advocate even, please be sure to ask. We want to make sure that when the time comes, there are plenty of knowledgeable applicants. So please feel free to email me or come in during office hours so I can tell you a little bit about my day-to-day.
Are there any questions for the Treasurer's report? All right, seeing none, we'll move into Section 7, Other Reports. Item A, the chair now recognizes Director of Public Relations Martin for the reading of their report.
Evening, everyone. Just want to provide you a bit of an update on the banquet. Invitations will be sent out shortly. and the survey for awards to be given at the banquet will be sent out very shortly as well. I have a letter to President Barto's family circulating around the Senate floor. If you haven't signed it yet, please do so. And other than that, likewise with Stella, if you are thinking about applying to the DPR position, please let me know. I can tell you a lot. I'm open for questions.
Are there any questions for the DPR's report? Senator Gibson?
Okay, so I have, it's not really a question, but I have the thing that we're supposed to sign going around, so if anybody hasn't signed it, just let me know, I guess.
Are there any questions for the DPR's report? All right, seeing none, we'll move into item B. The chair now recognizes Student Advocate Miller for the reading of their report.
You left it on. So right now, I am currently working on 2 grade appeals. Hopefully we will get those in the works. I haven't met with them. I have one scheduled meeting, and then the other I'm still waiting to hear back from them. So hopefully I will have 2 grade appeals in the works. Those will definitely become more popular here soon within the next couple of weeks as classes end. Food for Fines went really well. We had 67 people donate and 112 citations were paid off. I don't have... Okay, so by the end of the week we should have information as to how many items were donated. So that'll be good to know. On March 19th, I did a live video, kind of like Rockin' with Ral, just letting everybody know what I've been doing. Mostly mine was talking about the different things the Student Advocate does, basically parking, grade appeals, and my Maxient form. And then my last thing, on this past Friday, I had a meeting with Christine Campbell. She is the attorney that we host legal advice with. As you guys know, this past year, legal advice has had little to no turnout, which is upsetting compared to last year. There was a good turnout. But we talked to see what we could do about future events, if there's anything different that we could try, because I hate wasting their time hosting these events for a couple hours where nobody shows up. So we talked about possibly whether that's trying to squeeze in one more event this semester or scheduling the events for next semester, maybe possibly doing tabling or still hosting an event if we see an influx of legal advice request forms. Those go directly to me and then I reach out to her. So we were thinking that we might have an immigration attorney come to campus before the session is up. I'm really hoping. I gave Christine some dates, so hopefully I should hear back next week as to if any of those dates will work for an immigration attorney. And even if we don't host an event for that, we could table, whatever. And then another thing Christine brought up was at K-State, they just recently did an expungement event, I guess, where they just did a presentation to the student body about what expungements are and how they can go about that. So hopefully we could have one of those hosted here towards the end of the semester, not this year, but maybe next year, because I don't think that's something students really think about when they're getting ready to graduate. So I think that would be awesome to host here on campus as well. And that's it.
Are there any questions for the advocate's report at this time? All right, seeing none, we'll move. Was there one? Oh, okay. Seeing none, we'll now move into item C. The chair now recognizes Academics Chair Rivera for the reading of their report.
Academics and Diversity Task Force are submitting the reports to the record.
Do you have your report? Okay, the chair, moving into item E, the chair now recognizes Safety and Student Services Chair Enns for the reading of their report.
Okay, I don't have much that's new for you all, but I did want to update you on Coffee with a Cop, just to make sure that you all are aware of it. And that is happening tomorrow from 10 a.m. to noon in the downstairs Starbucks, the RSC Starbucks. So I really hope to see all of you there. I ordered 3 gallons of Starbucks coffee today, and there will be pastries and lots of happiness. So I hope that you come and, talk with law enforcement, get a little acquainted with them, and take this opportunity to, just chat and do some networking and, ask them lots of serious questions too if you have those. Also, please encourage everyone to come, especially people that might feel like a little nervous around law enforcement. This is a great opportunity for them to talk and also, just get some nice snacks. So I wanted to let you know about that. Also, I just wanted to touch base with you all. We are working on that tobacco resolution, and that should be hopefully on the floor by next week. So I will take any questions.
Are there any questions for the chair's report at this time? All right, seeing none, we'll move into section 9, unfinished business. Item A, SB-61-077, correcting student advocate timetable. Is there anyone wishing to speak in debate on this bill? Yeah, but the section moved up one because we added a new section, so that's why. Seeing none, we'll now move into the voting period for this bill. All those in favor, please raise your hand. All those opposed, same sign. SB-61-077 has passed by a majority vote of the Senate. Moving into item B, SB-61-078, grant recognition to the Sisters for Sisters student organization. Is there anyone wishing to speak in debate on this bill? Seeing none, we'll move into the voting period. All those in favor, please raise your hand. All those opposed, same sign. SB-61-078 has passed by a majority vote of the Senate. Moving into item C, SB-61-079, grant recognition to the ASL Club. Is there anyone wishing to speak in debate on this bill? Seeing none, we'll move into the voting period. All those in favor, please raise your hand. All those opposed, same sign. SB-61-079 has passed by a majority vote of the Senate. Moving into section 10, new business, item A, FB-61-049, auxiliary funding request. Does the author wish to speak to this bill?
Sorry, I'm operating the screen and my own laptop, so just give me a second. Okay, so 3 groups are asking for auxiliary funding. The first is Microcosmos. I wish Aaron could have been here to talk about it. That's okay. So for Microcosmos, they are sending 1 student, and that's Aaron, for the literary magazine, or for the AWP conference and book fair in Portland, Oregon. He is going on behalf of the literary magazine Microcosmos, and I believe what they do there is they present Microcosmos to a lot of different literary magazines from different campuses as well. So I think he mentioned that this was a really great way for them to market Microcosmos and market Wichita State. Along with that, what they're planning on doing in the future is they said that most literary magazines have like a literary contest, and people can submit poems and content for a certain amount per submission, and this is a really good way to promote that, and hopefully they can fundraise more money whenever they get Microcosmos out there. So this funding specifically is just for 1 person for lodging and transportation. The reason that transportation is a little bit higher is because Aaron accounted for his flight, and he accounted for a different bus travel that he'll have to take. However, I think that the committee decided that just in case he needs to Uber from his Airbnb to his conference, or from the hotel, or from the Airbnb to the airport or something like that. We just added a little bit of extra transportation money. Next, we have Vietnamese Student Association. Unfortunately, they couldn't be here tonight either, but they wrote a little bit of a blurb. They said that the Vietnamese Student Organization is a nonprofit group that strives to bring awareness of Vietnamese culture to the students of Wichita State and the community surrounding it. They promote this through food, music, events, as well as educational events. They're reaching out to Student Government Association in regards to a funding bill that's requested to cover registration and transportation costs to their VIA-1 conference. That conference is the Vietnamese Interacting as One. I believe that's what that stands for. So 12 students were able to go to this, and they had to pay for registration, transportation, and lodging costs all out of pocket. However, with this funding request, it means that they'll be able to just pay for lodging costs on their own, which is, I believe, like $60 to $70 per student. The reason that we recommended them a little bit more is because after listening to their presentation, we weren't really sure why they didn't request any money for registration. So we asked if they would like SGA to fund part of that, considering registration was $60 per student. And they obviously said that they would like that to be funded. So we decided to fund that. Next, we have Medical Laboratory Sciences. They are requesting $1,500 just to cover registration for a conference that's happening in Wichita, so they don't need lodging or transportation. They're requesting $50 per student for 31 students for the Science of Medicine Conference. It's held every single April, and they get really good opportunities to present and to help out with this conference because it's hosted in Wichita.
Are there any questions for the author at this time? All right, seeing none, we'll be moving into the debating period. Is there anyone wishing to speak in debate on this bill? Senator Balzer?
Stella handled everything, but I'm aware of my reputation. And so I just wanted to say I'm going to be voting in favor of this. I kind of want to touch on something a little bit more overhead than the specifics, since I didn't really catch anything that she missed. That auxiliary funding has been getting a lot of appreciation from the organizations that we've been doing since organization funding has run out. A few months ago, we've had a lot of people that have been able to come in and still be able to hit events that they normally wouldn't have been able to. And the ability for them to do that through auxiliary funding, which is directly from the reserves of SGA itself, is really helping SGA present itself as an option. Also for graduate students too, we've had a lot of people from AUX funding come in that are graduate students, and they're getting assistance that they normally wouldn't have been able to. So I just want to say that voting in favor of these has really been helping these people out for their academic careers.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak in debate on this bill? Senator Fugit?
I will also be speaking in favor of this. And I also just wanted to say that I know that there were others who were planning on going to the conference for Microcosmos, but personal things came up. So that's the reason there's only one who happens to be a senator who is going. But it's a great event. All of these are great events for our students in promoting what we as a university do.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak in debate on this bill? All right, seeing none, we'll be moving into the voting period. All those in favor, please raise your hand. All those opposed, same sign. FB-61-049 has passed by a majority vote of the Senate. Moving into item B, SB-61-080, grant recognition to the WSU Dungeons and Dragons Club. Is there a representative here to speak on this bill? So, since there is no representative, this is a first read, and we'll be moving into debate on this item next week. So, moving into section 11, swearing in, Section 12, remarks and announcements. Is there anyone else wishing to speak in remarks and announcements? Senator Rivera?
Hello, everybody. On Friday, there is a Patty Palooza concert at. It's either going to be at SAE or it's going to be here if it rains. So I know some of us can't make it to the concert for reasons on Friday. So if you cannot make it, feel free to donate for the kids. So if you'd like to go to the concert, you can buy tickets from me. They're $5. Or if you just like to donate, I can set you up with a way to do that as well. So just let me know.
Advisor Fonseca.
Yes, I have a few things. I heard that. First, Shocker Leadership Awards are open, so if you're a part of any student organization that plans on applying for any awards, there's 15 different awards, organization awards, programming awards, as well as individual awards. The 3 of the 4 organizational awards, SGA has contributed funding to give to these student organizations. So if you're a part of a large student organization, which is 26 members or more, or a small organization, or a new organization, each of those come with a gift from the student government in the form of money. So I'd encourage you, if you're part of student organizations, to apply for those awards. Those are due April 12th. Second, this is an election thing, as we wrap up this week and get ready for Friday, just a reminder that we still have one more town hall tomorrow. So it's the At-Large International Returning Adult. So encourage those constituents to attend that town hall, as well as the presidential and vice presidential debate on Friday at 6:30 in the CAC Theater. And then you will see around campus, the banners went up today. Don't forget to encourage students to vote Monday through Wednesday of next week. It's the same voting platform we've been using for the past 2 years, so hopefully there's no issues except for the whole duo login thing that students have to do now. So encourage your constituents to vote and make sure that you vote as well. Thank you.
President Rowell.
I posted on the Facebook earlier this week that our Shocker Support Locker assistant would be gone this week. So we are needing senators to cover shifts at the Shocker Support Locker on Friday from 9 to 12. So if you are able to do so, even if it's just 30 minutes, that would be greatly appreciated. No one signed up so far, and we can't have the locker open without an attendant in there. So please sign up for those times. It's on the Facebook. You can just comment what time slot you would like, and we'll get that set up.
Also, I almost forgot, tonight is when your senator hours are due. Make sure to get those sent in. Senator Mounts.
So actually, I have a question for Gabe. Have you figured out the issue with because on both test ballots, I was not able to see the honor senators, and I am an honor student. Have you figured that out?
Yeah, well, it's a good question. We can talk about it more specifically later, but I will say that the ballots are information that comes directly from the university. So if you are talking to students and they have questions about what they can and cannot see, keep in mind that that data comes from the Office of Planning and Analysis. That's what it is, right? Office of Planning and Analysis. Yeah, that's correct. So if the university doesn't classify the student as a specific thing, then they won't see that ballot. So do keep that in mind, but we can talk specifically if you have questions about that when the meeting's over.
Senator King.
Hello, everybody. Farmhouse is having a philanthropy event April 7th at 6 p.m. That is a Sunday. It's at North Rock, and we are having teams of 4 to 6, all bowling. Proceeds go to Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, and it is $10 a person. So it's called Strike Out Cancer. Okay.
Senator Maddock.
I have a couple of things. One, if you have ever thought that it would be cool to be in a music video, hit me up, because I'm choreographing a music video and we need bodies, and there will be food there. It'll be on April 12th and 13th, if that weekend happens to be open for you. And then secondly, on April 26th, I know it's really far from now, but I'm telling you now, and I'll tell you again in a couple weeks, this super cool event called Final Fest is happening, and it's a music festival that I helped put on with 2 of my good friends, and so you guys should be there.
Senator Mounts.
I just want to thank everyone in SGA who went to Interfest today. I saw quite a few familiar faces there, and also the food was delicious. So thank you all for going out and supporting your different student organizations, and especially getting some awesome, delicious food.
Senator Martin.
I got my boot off. That's it.
Senator Berth.
So I just want to thank everybody that came out to the Student Veterans Barbecue. We had a good time, lots of interaction. Lots of great food. If you hadn't noticed any of the social media that it pushed out for winners, Levi Shank took best overall with his sweet ribs. And also took best in ribs, go figure. I took best in pork, and my pasta salad was the close second best overall, which I don't know how that happened.
Senator Enns.
Yeah, so before I forget, and before you all forget, I wanted to remind you again about Coffee with the Cop, even though that was 5 minutes ago. Please come tomorrow. I want all of that coffee gone. I don't want to deal with that. Also, I am having a show, an art show at the Donut Hole with my students' work. It's going to be pretty cool, April 1st through the end of the month. And we are having like a musical reception with that on April 14th, sometime in the evening. Just show up like 7 or after. I'm pretty sure that's when it's going to be. But I would be really excited to see you all there. So,
Treasurer Yang.
I told him to wait, but I just wanted to thank you all for student fees and passing it and everything. I know that last year and maybe like the year before that and years before that, it's always been like a difficult process and everyone was like super duper stressed and everything. This year I have been very stress-free thanks to your work outside of Senate and talking to your representatives and your work with the committee members, and a special thanks to the committee members that are in here: Ethan, Anna, Walter, Lucas, Michael. Am I missing anyone? That'd be awkward. Tanya, I'm so sorry. You're covered by a lot of people. But a special thanks to you all for doing so much good work, and it was a really great first year for the process. So thank you.
Senator Khan.
Hello, everybody. This is your good old Senator Raja Khan, soon to become Citizen Khan, and the date is April 19th. It's 8:30 in the morning. It's a Friday. So if you do want to miss some of your classes and show up to my citizenship inauguration, I would love to see that. It is at Century 2. And don't ask me how that works. It's my first time. So I guess we'll all figure it out together. Thank you.
Senator Balderrama.
Friendly reminder, April 13th, that's a Saturday from 9:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. There's going to be Medical Mission at Home, which is a day of free health care. So I encourage you guys, if you can volunteer, even if it's just for a couple hours, to do that. There's different positions you can have, so you can like pass out food, or you can take the people around to different stations. They're going to need a lot of help. We do serve a lot of people who don't have health care on that day. It's completely free. They don't have to show anything. And we particularly are looking for anyone who can translate. So if you are bilingual, polylingual, whatever, if you know another language and you can translate, that's especially needed. Thank you.
Senator Laughlin.
Just a friendly reminder that Hippodrome is coming up. It's the Greek event where we get to write plays and then show off our theater skill as Greek houses. I'm very excited for our show that we're going to be doing. It's really cute. So come out and support your WSU Greek members. It's going to be, I didn't even give you any real information. It's going to be Wednesday and Thursday, April 10th and 11th, and then Saturday, April 13th, all day. So the 10th and 11th will be like different shows, like different people go on different nights. Ours is Thursday at 7 if you want to come support me particularly. And then Saturday, they're just going to be all day. So you get in free as a student, so come and support and see some mediocre theater.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak? Senator King.
Farmhouse, AFI, and Sigma Lambda Beta will be on Wednesday, so just saying.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak in remarks and announcements? All right, seeing none, the meeting is adjourned at 8:08 p.m. with a silent roll call.